We're back with Tracy Ramilius. She's a health coach. TracyRamilius.com is her website. We're talking about reading the back of food labels. We're going to be talking about healthy baking substitutions, but I think the most important thing that I keyed in on when I was going over this with you, people don't have to be necessarily upfront and honest on the front of their packaging, on the backs where they need to be honest.
That's true. You know, you might be walking down the aisle and you see natural, healthy, gluten-free, all those things doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. You've got to look at the ingredients. You've got to see how much sugar is in there. You have to see what kind of refined oils or refined flours are in there. So it's definitely good to look.
Isn't that terrifying that, you know, we trust everything we see on the front? Very few of us do check the back of packaging. Me, I'm in and out of the grocery store. I don't have time to read the back of all of it, so I trust what's on the front.
Yeah, that's like I was saying. If you just do it once, then you remember what products you're good at.
You're right. You only need to look at the label once, then you say, okay, this isn't good for me. This I need to get more of because it's fantastic.
But good to know what we have to do. Look at the back.
Now, baking substitutes, because people bake, but then if you look at the back of the cookies, there's a whole lot of fat and calories and all that in there. So we're going to make it easier today. The first thing we can cut out is some white sugar. What can you replace?
Yeah, a lot of times white sugar is a huge ingredient. It'll be like 3 or 4 cups of sugar in you. You can substitute applesauce, 1 cup of applesauce for a cup of sugar. It's a pretty even switch. You can also try using maple syrup or raw honey. They're both unrefined sugar. So when we talk about white sugar, it's refined. It's going to spike your blood sugar really quickly. The more you can get natural sugars into your ingredients, the better. And with all of these substitutions, it's really good to kind of experiment a little bit. Like sometimes you may have to change a little bit of the amounts of liquids and things. Like if you're using maple syrup, you may have to reduce a little bit of the liquids in your other
to counteract
things.
Whereas
Yeah,
the sugar
just to
is
get
dry,
the right consistency.
Right, so you have to make a whole lot of cookies, which
Yeah,
isn't
you just
a
have
bad
to
thing.
experiment.
Yeah, which is right up my alley. Let's talk about oil. What can you use instead of vegetable oil?
Instead of vegetable oil, I often use coconut oil. Coconut oil is a solid at room temperature. If you look in this jar, it looks like a white solid. So you do need to melt it first. And when I was talking about the oils breaking down and creating free radicals, coconut oil is a saturated fat, which used to be something you were told to avoid. But now they're finding that it's okay to eat the saturated fats because they don't break down easily in your body and create those free radicals. They're also great for high heat cooking, the coconut oil. Like if you're doing any frying and that kind of thing,
or
it's
like
great.
in a wok or popcorn, that kind of.
It also adds great flavor if you like the coconut oil flavor. Other things you can use are butter, and I've never tried this, but I read that you can do equal parts butter to avocado as a fat. So that'd be kind of an interesting,
I guess, trial and error. You got to see what works. Now, a lot of recipes, they call for just good old-fashioned white flour, but now there's so many different flours on the market.
Definitely. So when we were talking about the refined sugar, again, whole white white refined flour also is going to spike the blood sugar levels when it gets broken down. So I like to experiment with mixing whole wheat flour with it. That's why I have both of them here. Is if you do a white flour and you go right to wheat flour and all wheat flour, it can end up being a little heavy, so your stuff might not come out right. So I do a half and half, like switch. So if there's a cup of flour, I'll put a half a cup of wheat flour in it.
That makes sense.
Also make it gradual too. It's one of those things, if you change everything overnight, you're not going to keep with any of it for more than a week. Lastly, I see that you have pumpkin filling there, but unless we're making a pumpkin pie, that's lost on me. So what can you actually use it for? Because it's very varied.
Yeah, a lot of times you end up with like an extra cup of pumpkin when you're baking something else. I add them to pancakes. It's really good. And you can also add them to chocolate cakes. So you're adding some vegetable to like what you're eating. So like kids won't know. I just read a recipe where you mix it in instead of oil and egg for a brownie mix. Just using a brownie mix, you can put a can of pumpkin.
All right, Tracy, you're going to come on Mass Appeal. We're going to make those brownies.
Yes.
We're going to show how good they are. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.